was the last time that you made a mistake? Did you feel like you had failed, like you were back to where you started? Or how about the last time you needed a friend? Did you feel weak for reaching out for help? Or maybe the last day you spent a day taking care of yourself. Did you feel guilty for not doing something more? Well, let me tell you, the last time I did all of those things was probably yesterday. But here's the catch. I just painted to you a picture of the world we live in. One where we have somehow lost our sense of self while searching for our sense of purpose. One where we have become so focused on the destination that we have forgotten all about the journey. One where we have been so determined to build this beautiful and successful story starting from square one that we have neglected the beauty of the first page itself. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sophia, and this is what I want to talk to you about today. In the examples I gave you when I started this speech, I painted square one as some kind of punishment or major setback, because that is how society sees it today. We live in a world that is driven by competition and by a desire to build the best and the most successful story. And while society has taught us that square one is simply the first page in this story of life, they fail to teach us the fact that square one could be the entire story itself. I want to talk about this idea in 3 different ways today. Firstly, by examining the beauties of square one. Secondly, by talking about the benefits of going back to square one, no matter where you are on your life journey. And lastly, by discussing how we can end the societal stigma around square one and move it past simply the first page in the story to the entire story itself. First, let's examine the beauties of square one. While society has told us that square one is the stepping stone in your story of life, they have failed to teach us the fact that it is okay if you never move past your first square. Your first square is the foundation of who you are. It's the family and friends who lift you up. It's the hobby your grandma taught you when you were 5 years old that you still love. It's the people and places and things that make you feel like you. There is absolutely no shame in never moving past the first square. Not every life means some kind of earth-shattering discovery or incredible journey. Sometimes it's simply about changing the world in your own way. During the COVID-19 pandemic, my sister and I baked over 2,000 chocolate chip cookies and delivered them to friends and family across the city. The intensely emotional reactions of people to a tiny gesture made out of something that we love astounded me. In my birthday cards this year, friends wrote about how I was a cheerleader for them and they could always count on me. Baking goods and sharing them with the people that I love and being a good friend to those I care about, that is my square one. And if I can tell you a secret, even if those are the only 2 things that I leave behind in this world, even if I never move past my first square, I would be happy, because I consider helping one friend up when they fall or changing a fraction of one person's life for the better a successful journey. I am not afraid to never move past my first square, because it is who I am and it is who I want to be remembered by. It is the first page in a story that I hope will continue to be written far beyond my lifetime. It is perfectly imperfect. But then, what if we do move past square one? What if society gives us opportunities and we want to continue down a path that we are passionate about? Well, the answer is simple. Take those opportunities. See the world and find your place in it, but never be afraid of falling right back to where you started, the first square. As a generation of young people, we have been molded to dread making mistakes. Why? Well, you get a bad grade on a test, you'll never get into university. You say something slightly rude to a friend that you regret, you're suddenly on a blacklist with every high school kid in the city. You pursue a passion that fails, you'll never succeed in life. That is where the root of the problem stems. Making mistakes was never meant to be the wind that tears us down. It was meant to be the water that helps us to grow and to thrive. If you are working towards a goal and suddenly it feels like it's all come crashing down, I promise you that going right back to where you started is not as life-altering or dream-crushing as it may seem. When I was in grade 9, I decided to take a chance on myself and try out for my school's senior girls basketball team. Mind you, I am the least athletic person you have ever met in your life. But I thought, why not? It was a way to push myself outside of my comfort zone, a way to move from square one to square two. Unfortunately for me, only 9 girls tried out for the team, so I automatically made it. I made mistakes on that team every single day, whether it was not passing in the right way, and I'm still not sure I know what the right way is, not trying hard enough on defense, or simply being too scared. It felt like every day I was being pushed from square two right back to square one. But you see, square one also instilled in me the greatest sense of resilience that I have ever known. Square one pushed me back to teammates who helped me to grow and to get better, and in fact, square one is how I met my best friend, who's still my best friend today and continues to help me to learn and to grow. I cannot stand here today and tell you that I became the best player on that team, but I can say allowing myself to make mistakes and forge new connections shaped me into the person that I am today. That journey was perfectly imperfect. So then, if going back to square one and square one itself aren't really as bad as we make them out to be, how do we change the stigma? Well, I am standing here talking to you today because I believe in being the change that you want to see in the world. The change that I want to see? Making square one the full story again. In a world where it often feels like the weight of everything lies on our shoulders alone, people often seem to drown in this ocean of uncertainty. And perhaps, as human beings, it was never our sole responsibility to help the people we care about move from square one to square two. Perhaps it was always just about showing up for one another in our darkest times. If someone you care about is struggling, if it feels impossible for them to move from square one to square two, show up with flowers or their favorite snack and be a shoulder for them to cry on when the weight of the world starts to feel a little too heavy. And perhaps more importantly, be that person for yourself too. Extend to yourself the same kindness that you so freely give to those around you. Because when that happens, when you let yourself be without the pressure to be everything, when you take off the pressure to be the best or the most successful, that is when the stigma ends. That is when we reshape societal norms and move our world one step closer to believing in the person, not just the end result of their journey. That is when square one becomes not just the first page, but the entire story itself. That is when growth and compassion become superpowers. So, the next time that you make a mistake, or you need a friend, or you take a day for self-care, be kind to yourself and enjoy the journey because it is authentically you. And in the quiet moments of that day, you will find the power in being perfectly imperfect. And you will become who you were always truly meant to be. Messy, real, kind, and human. Thank you.